Open chords. Okay, moving on to pattern 4. Now we had low E, high E, and the fretted E here on the 4th string. But all we have to do to make it a complete chord is fill out the rest of the notes that make it an E chord. So we'll put the 5th here, and we'll put the 3rd here, and check it out. Now we've got a nice, full-sounding E chord, an open E chord. Okay? Let me write that down here. We didn't finish this. Okay? So that's 3 roots in this chord, plus a 5th and a 3rd. We'll go into the theory of that a little bit more later, but okay? And then finally, the last chord form we have over here had 2 roots in it. Okay, now what do we do with the rest of the strings? Do we just go like this? That's not going to work. Doesn't sound like a right chord. So let's fill it out where we need to. And here's where we need to add the rest of the chord tones. That's the root. And in this case, you don't really want to go all the way, strum all the way to the bottom here, because you get some notes that don't fit. One of the 2 notes there doesn't sound good. So my suggestion is just to play it from the 4th string right here up, like this. And notice you can play this chord either 2, 3, 4, or 1, 1, 3, 2. Either one is fine. Okay, so that's a D chord. Okay, so after learning this last D chord here, we can see that basically all the roots that we learned at the beginning, all the root locations, become full open string chords. The pattern 1 root location became a C chord. The pattern 2 root location became an A chord. The pattern 3 roots became a full G chord, open string G chord. The pattern 4 roots, 3 of them there, became a full E chord. And the pattern 5 roots became the open D chord. Okay, so these chords are very useful, are the basis of a lot of popular songs. Anyone who plays guitar at the very beginning levels knows these chords and gets comfortable with these right away because they're so useful and they just sound good on the guitar. So let's put them together in a simple progression. I just wrote some of the chords here. I wrote all 5 of them. I just put them in a different order so they'd sound a little bit better. But we're just going to play them and strum them, practice putting them in a pattern, in kind of a strum. Okay? So we're just going to do it like this. I'm going to count basically with my foot here. Maybe I'll get out of the way so you can see the chords better. And I'm just going to tap, and I'm going to strum 4 beats per bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just to practice putting these together, okay? So here we go. 1, 2, starting with C. D. Here comes E. I'll do it again. Okay, I'm going to add a little variation of my strum now. Check this out. I'm going to go like this. Just makes it have a little bit more rhythm, right? So 1, 2, and 3, 4. That's called 8th notes. 1, 2, and I'm dividing the quarter note into 2 pieces. So it's going to sound like this now. so even with these open string chords, there's a lot you can do with it, a lot of fun you can have. You can start adding more rhythm to it, a little bit more tempo. Maybe you play it like this. Okay, so these are great chords for a lot of situations. They sound full on the guitar, and they're very important to learn the basics because they become the rest of the neck. Okay, now that we've learned the open string chords, I'm going to show you how to connect them up the neck so they become more movable and more visually connected to other things you're going to learn. Okay, so remember all these roots right here that we learned. They're great for open string chords, but we got to visualize the way they connect up the neck because we don't just stay in open position. Okay, so check this out. The open C roots right here, if we wanted to go to the next position of C roots, right, up the neck, we're going to build from the low C root right here and find the next root shape up. And as you can see, if I got back, just imagine, if you will, if I got rid of, I didn't think of this necessarily as the open position, right? Well, rather this. And I didn't think of it as A, and I wrote it like this. Now, let's call this, the third fret. Right? That is the third fret right here. Okay? So pattern 1 is right here, and the next position of C builds right here, and this is the third fret. So this isn't the open position anymore. Okay, so this is pattern 2, but now on the third fret. Okay, and the same is going to hold true here. I'm going to move this out of the open position and go up the neck, and we're going to have a more movable shape of roots. So pattern 3 now is going to be like this. We're going to have roots right. Actually, let me readjust that to this. And this is going to be the 8th fret. Okay, so check out how that works. Pattern 2, and notice how pattern 2 continues to build up to the next position of the C roots, pattern 3. So now we're playing the C roots up the neck. We're not staying in position. So pattern 1, open position. Then we go to the next position of C roots, but now we're not in open position. We're at the 3rd fret. And then we move up to the next position of the C roots, and we have basically the 8th fret in pattern 3. Okay, and let's get rid of the open position here and forget about calling it E. I want you to see how this is going to work now. Oops. My fault. Now this is the 8th fret right here, and this is pattern 4. So once again, building from the 8th fret, now we're building above it, right? Here's the 8th fret, and now the roots are right here. Okay? So once again, pattern 1, open position roots, but building to the next position of roots. Pattern 3 right here, then pattern 4. And then finding the last position as we go up, finding the last position of C roots. We're going to get rid of the open frets here. And make it work as a movable root shape. And this is going to be the 10th fret. Okay, this is all in the key of C now. Okay, so that ties into the upper part of pattern 4 that we just learned right here. So notice how each one of the notes contains one of the next roots in the upper pattern. That's what's so useful about visualizing it this way. They all connect and overlap. So this is the key of C, but you can do it virtually with any key, right? Once you figure out the way they connect and overlap, you can just choose any one of the keys. So let's say we go to the open A root, right? And go, okay, well, here's the open A roots. Let's connect the A roots up the neck. Instead, it's just staying in one position and playing these chords. Okay, so here's open A. The next root location would build on pattern 3, which is right here. Forget this as 8th fret and just think of it as the A roots. Okay, and now we're basically at the 5th fret here with A. So we started in pattern 2, we went to pattern 3, and now you'll see the next root location. You can assume it's going to be pattern 4 because the next root location occurs in pattern 4 right here. And so it starts to really make sense as you start to see the way they line up. These are all the A roots. And that basically takes us up to the top where we had the open A chord, and this is just an octave above. Right? And just check yourself on one more root location, let's say the open E root. Okay? Now you can see that root right there is going to overlap into this position and become the basis for the pattern 5 root. So we started in pattern 4, and then we went to pattern 5 for the next root. And then as we build on this root and play the octave below, we start back again on pattern 1. And then we continue finding the E roots. Okay, so it really starts to make sense when you learn these open string chords and then you connect them up the neck, or open string roots rather. And then you connect them up the neck and you get the whole linkage or connection of all the roots. Okay, and that's what I want you to do as a final method of study after you've learned the chords, is to connect the roots up the neck, because we're going to use that information in later lessons. All right, I will say goodbye by practicing a little bit more, jamming, having some fun, and I'll see you next lesson.